हाँ तो गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन all the pro bono fans अगर मैं बोल सकूँ all the pro bono fans and all everyone tuning in, thank you for coming. Day 2 of the pro bono stream, trying to cope up with the coronavirus. यही से काम करने कोशिश कर रहे हैं. And today on day 2 of pro bono's live stream we have Mr. Punyabrata Sen ji with us. Sir, could you just address the audience for us?
Hi. First of all, stay safe, stay indoors, take care of yourselves. That's the only way to beat this virus, it seems. Anyway, as someone said, he gave you my name, so I'm not going to repeat it anymore. So here I am. I am here to share whatever little I know with you guys, and you can ask me questions. So quick up to date about who I am. So I'm a guy who was born in Calcutta, grew up in the mountains in Darjeeling, and what do? I try to have fun and I try to make other people happy. Who do I do it for? I do it for all of you. I do it for all of you so that you get clarity on what you're going to go and do in the future. And how do you guys change because of what I do? I hope you guys succeed. And there have been people who have succeeded. So it's good, it's a good thing to do actually. So that's what I do. So I don't say I'm an engineer or an accountant or a lawyer or a businessman or whatever. But the fact of the matter remains that yes, I did my studies in accounting. I did a BCom, not engineering. So I'm not an engineer. And that's one thing which I find is common. And then I pursued accounting. I'm a cost management accountant, CMA. And having done that, I wandered all over the place. So I first wandered into multinationals in India. I wandered into a company called TCS. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's okay. And then I wandered abroad. So I managed to find myself in the Gulf. Don't ask me how I got there. I did get there. So I wandered doing a few things here and there. I worked with the Big Five. So I was with Arthur Andersen. Then I worked with the Big Four. Then Arthur Andersen vanished and it became Ernst & Young. And the wandering continued. And, well, I didn't have a plan. That's why I said it's wandering. So I wandered around and I landed up being an advisor to the government of Oman. So I had some fun there, changing things around, impacting lives and so on and so forth. And then, but in all this wandering around, my basic learning of accounting played a part. I never did accounting in my life. I studied accounting, but I never did accounting in my life. But what I learned over there, I could use in various different scenarios that came up. And I think that's a point that we should all keep in mind. Whatever we study, it teaches us a couple of things. It teaches us how to respond under pressure. So you have this 3-hour exam that we need to write. And we all know that 3 hours is not enough to complete that question paper. And we start cooking up answers and so on and so forth. So it's the pressure, how well we handle pressure. And the second thing it does, it teaches us some basic fundamental skills, some knowledge. It could be mathematics, it could be literature for the people who are in arts, it could be critical thinking, so on and so forth. So then, as part of the government organization, I was the privatization advisor. So I was supposedly reforming sectors and so on and so forth. Health sector was one of them, and I'm coming to that. So then from there, I moved to the electricity sector, again doing the same things. I was doing strategy and planning for about 15, 16, 17 years. So what is strategy, what is planning, how to get from A to B, and how do we get there? So we can talk about that. And as you would have noticed, that it's all wandering around. But there is something over there. Whenever I got to do something, I knew what the end game was, and I made a plan to get there. And I involved all different people. And I helped them to succeed. That's the only way I could succeed, because I didn't know much. They knew much more than I did, actually. And Then I landed up being a telecom regulator. So the problem that's facing everybody today with Vodafone staying afloat or going down, we don't know. So all those things was something that we did. And then I landed up in the medical board of Oman. And I had a lovely time over there. So here what I want to say is in this, and I started off by saying I wandered around. So what happens is when we are in a stage when we are 16, 17, 18, we are wondering what to do with life. And we have two parameters to actually define it. On one side, we have end. So if on the x-axis we have the end, the clarity, it goes up, or zero clarity. And on the y-axis, we have the means. So the means would mean time and resource. So we do know that some people, when they start off in their career and their lives, they are very clear, or someone is very clear about the end point, the end. And there are the resources to get there. So it's got a high clarity of the end and a lot of resources out there in terms of time and money. And then there's a plan made. So that means you do this and then you do the next step, then you do the next step, then you do the next step, and then you reach the end point. Typically the guys who are top of the class, who get their 99% and then they have to answer why they didn't get 100%. And they know exactly, I've done this, I'll give my entrance exam to IIT, I'll join IIT, I'll do electronics or whatever I'll do. After finishing IIT, I'll go to Harvard or MIT or Stanford. And they know it. It's laid out. And we know some of them. Or someone might have a plan. And these plans are more often than not done by someone in the family. Normally, it would be the parent. So you do this A, you do B, you do C, you do D. Someone might take the course of becoming an IS officer or an IPS officer. They are the very common route that people take. And there is also this, it's very clear. The end is very clear. The means are there. So, what are the means in this case? Go to coaching class A, you come back from school, burdened down by that huge bag of yours. Somehow you get out of it, and then you carry another bag and you run to Prof A, and then you run to Prof B. That's life. And I think everybody has got a taste of that. So that's called a planned itinerary of a career or a life. Now, sometimes what happens is that planned itinerary doesn't work. Everybody makes a plan thinking they know the best or whatever it is. Either they know or their parents know that's the best for my son or my daughter or whatever the case may be. Somebody in the medical world as well, and I know quite a few of them. Then what happens is the end stays clear. But we lose sight of the means, or we don't have the means. We don't know how to get to the end. We know that's an end. We know I want my MBBS, MD or whatever. We know that I want to be an engineering graduate, but we are somehow lost. So it's similar to, when you cross a river and there is no bridge and there is no boat, but you have to get to the other side, the other side is greener. So you feel for the stones. If it's not something, or you try to swim or you do something and you get to the other side, because you have resources with you. You don't have the bridge, you don't have the boat or anything, but I have to get to the other side. I have to be a graduate, and we talked about that yesterday. Graduate hona hai, and someone said, "Yaar, boss, 4 saal mein graduation and undergrad and masters bhi ho gaya, yaar." Yeah, we did it, So that's the second thing that we are faced with in life as we go forward in our careers as well. The third thing happens. Sometimes we have all the means and we are working very hard. We have the time, but we don't have a clarity of the end. We don't actually know what's going to happen in the end. Am I going to finish my graduation? Am I not going to finish my graduation? I started off to do a graduation in medical. I landed up doing a graduation in English literature perhaps, possible.
Mm.
But I have that stamina and the capability to keep going, one foot after the other. That let us call climbing a hill. So when you climb a hill, you have that all the resources with you. You know you have to get somewhere. You cannot see the clarity of it, but you keep going. You believe.
Right.
There's a lot of faith in yourself when you believe.
Mm.
This is when you have a lot of means and resources at your disposal, but you don't have a clarity of the end. So the end is not clear. So we have had three scenarios so far. So where we had end is very clear, you have a lot of means, you plan an itinerary and you get there. Excellent. Or you know what the end is, but you don't have the means, you feel your way through. You cross a river.
Mhm.
Or you don't know where the end is. You have the means to keep on going. You have time on your side, your resources on your side. You keep plodding one step after the other and you get there, which happens to most of us, I suppose. There is a fourth situation, which is you have no clue what the end is and you don't have any resources with you. You don't have the means, you don't have the resources. What do? And that's what I did. I wandered around. We scouted around, we wandered around. It's trying out new things, studying on your own, learning how to learn, and looking at what's happening here in the nearest vicinity, looking outside what's happening outside, figuring out what the opportunities are. It's a great thing. So we all wander around at some point or the other, and it's a good thing to do.
Mm.
It's a very good thing to do, actually, because it lets your imagination free. You can dream and you can make your dream come true. It's good. Now, there's a fifth thing that happens, which means you don't know what to do, but you know the end, which means you're in an emergency, you're in a quicksand. You have to get out of there fast, like what we are now today in the world. We don't know how to tackle this virus. All we know is we have to get out of there and we must not get infected. So we are just going all out to do whatever we can do. So we know the end. Get away from the virus. How to do it? We are trying everything that's under the sun. Stay at home, do whatever, That is, yeah, exactly. Wash your hands. Wash it in every different way you can, actually.
Right. People at home are now buying sanitizers who have water available and soaps available.
Imagine that. I tell you. Anyway, but that's the fifth thing, and it happens to us in life. And and what happens is, yeah, you did something up there, and I said, like, hey, what the hell's going on?
No.
But that's a situation we find ourselves in our lives, even if we may be the top of the class or the bottom of the class. It's always there. These 5 scenarios happen.
Right.
Now the question comes: is there a sequence to this? Is it in order? When do we use it? The answer is, well, there is a sequence, and I'll take the example. To be successful while wandering around, and remember what wandering around was: no sight of the end, no means. So you wander around. When you get sight of the end, you need to quickly move to a planned itinerary. So then you can succeed and get, what you have seen first and get that goal. Same thing when you get to cross the river. When you do cross the river, when you get to the other side, you hit that itinerary to reach the end, because you know what the final end is. So you have to do it in combination of each other. Right. You might be climbing a hill because you might have the means without knowing the end. Then you might actually shift to a river crossing and then go up. The fifth one, getting out of a tight situation or a disastrous situation, and we have all been in that. We want to change a job, we want to change the course. It's been true to everybody's life. There's no exceptions.
True.
The question out there is how quickly we can get out, and how do we make sure we don't land up in a bigger trouble. I think that's those two things we need to keep in mind, and then we get back to wandering, climbing a hill, crossing a river, or having a planned itinerary. That's what career is all about. That's what life is all about.
True. So, sir, thank you for such a great segue into the next segment. I do
Aditya,
have a
just
lot of
to,
questions in mind.
Yeah, Aditya, no,
please read out
again,
some.
just not
Yeah.
to cut you off, लेकिन मेरा काम बनता है इसमें. By the way, everyone watching, मुझे क्या करना था? सेन जी हाय बोलेंगे, हेलो, लाइक मे बी 1 minute इंट्रोडक्शन, फिर मुझे पूरा इनका अचीवमेंट्स और लिस्ट आउट करना था. जैसे भी आपके कॉलेज में कोई भी चीफ गेस्ट का आप अनाउंस करते हो, आई हैड टू डू दैट, लेकिन सेन जी ने खुद बता दिया. लेकिन क्विकली 30 seconds के अंदर मैं पूरा कवर कर रहा हूँ. As of now, Sen ji is a GIG consultant at Ernst & Young Global Delivery Services. He is also the chief mentor at T-Hub Hyderabad, mentor of change at Atal Innovation Mission. Before this, he was on one of the board of directors of Oman Electricity Transmission in Oman. I think this was for 1 year or half a year. Before that,
1.5 years.
1.5 years. My bad. Oman Medical Specialty Board, and then Telecommunications Regulatory Authority of Oman, Independent Consultant of Water Authority Oman, Nama Holding Electricity Holding Oman, Ministry of National Economy Government, and even before that, Ernst & Young Middle East, North Africa, Dubai, and UAE. So it's almost like when you say the phrase Jack of all, King of none, लेकिन इसमें थोड़ा उल्टा है. He is also Jack of all, King of all as well. So I think we are very
king.
So from me, on behalf of ProBano, we are very proud to have CNG with us. बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट ऑर्डर्स मिले हैं सर ना बुलाने की, तो इसीलिए हम लोग CNG बता रहे हैं. So to move into the next, introduction हो गया. आदित्य का इंट्रोडक्शन ये बार मैं कैंसिल कर रहा हूँ. आदित्य सबको ही पता है, बस हाँ काफ़ी है, प्लस मुझे भी नहीं सुनना है फिर से इतना बार. हाँ, तो
खुद का तो करो.
Aditya, take it away from here.
Okay, so sir, first of all, thank you so much for a very comprehensive introduction, plus letting us know about your thoughts about what are the situations when we are making the right career decision or when we are moving towards a career decision. And I think all of those are very apt. I have found myself in more than one, I think 2 or 3 till now, and I'm a very young guy, so probably by the time I take more time in my career, probably I'll find myself in all 5 situations. And as a career counselor also, I keep getting to see a lot of these situations, so this was very relatable. Now, before again jumping back to the 5 options that you said, which I will definitely do, a quick bite on what do you think this 21-day lockdown period and this whole COVID-19 situation is going to create for the career ecosystem ahead? Like, are our careers in the future going to be affected? Are our school students and college students, whoever is watching, is the career ecosystem going to change in the future? And is it going to be influenced by this, or this is just a short-term thing and it will pass?
Okay, there's a book. I don't know if you guys have read it. It's called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell.
Never really read it. Yeah.
So I think this is one of those tipping points. And a tipping point happens, and then the next stage is a massive change. It's a big change. So it's going to be, I think, I don't know, nobody knows that. It's like stargazing into the future. And this is a tipping point which will make life, it's going to be life 2.0. If till coronavirus or COVID-19, it was life version 1.0. So we are heading into life version 2.0.
2.0.
And that holds for career, that holds for jobs, that holds for everything. It's going to be very different the way we are going to look at things, and the opportunities are going to be different as well. That's the way I see it.
Got
And I
it.
think that's a big opportunity. That's a huge
Great.
opportunity staring at us. It's just that we need to recognize this challenge as an opportunity and create something out of it. And remember, we are human beings. And that's the only thing that separates us from the rest is we have imagination and creativity.
That actually that leads me into a question I had in mind. CNG, before we started off this stream, CNG हमें एक 5 pillars बता रहे थे. The whole the pillars, 5 pillars of a career. आई थिंक मैं इनको लिस्ट डाउन करने से बेटर होगा कि CNG खुद बताएंगे. और आई थिंक थोड़ा बहुत उसमें एस्पेक्ट पहले इंट्रोडक्शन में कवर हो चुका था, लेकिन पिकिंग अप फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस टॉपिक, जो कि कैसे वी ह्यूमन से क्रिएटिविटी के थ्रू वी कैन कम overcome any challenge in front of us, how it separates us from anything that is not human. So CNG, like you said, ecosystem, when we talk about the ecosystem, अभी का ecosystem you would say थोड़ा restricting है कोरोना वायरस की वजह से. होपफुली इट्स अ टेम्पररी थिंग, जल्दी से ये बैक टू नॉर्मल हो जाए, लेकिन बट देन थिंग्स विल नेवर बी द सेम फ्रॉम दिस पॉइंट ऑनवर्ड, क्योंकि एवरी जनरेशन दैट इज़ अलाइव राइट नाउ दे नेवर हैड टू फेस एनी काइंड ऑफ ग्लोबल पैंडेमिक एट सच अ स्केल जहाँ पे एवरीबडी हैड टू कम टुगेदर एज अ स्पीशीज़. तो आई थिंक लाइक यू सेड लाइफ 2.0 स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम नाउ ऑन. एक मूवी का अच्छा टाइटल बन रहा है, ये मेरा इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी कोई नहीं चुराएगा, बाय द वे.
Co-patenting. We need to do a co-patenting.
नहीं, this is my sole property. And based on the ecosystem, और कैसे इंसान being creative and using his imagination, how can we incorporate this hybrid model as CNG terms it, जहाँ पे the physical and digital world combines and works together to make a better living. So CNG, what are your thoughts about that? How can we create such a hybrid model?
Okay. Before I come to that, I want to ask the two of you a question. First, let's go with Aditya. You give me very quickly, let everybody understand and know what was, and if we call it and someone called it and agreed to call this Life 2.0 and he wanted to do a copywriting on it. So that's fine. So what is your take on Life 1.0, Career 1.0? That means till now, what is your take? Let's go with Aditya, then Samant, and then it'll build up to Life 2.0. So Aditya.
Sure, sir, definitely. So before me starting off, I definitely everyone who is watching to also comment in their versions of Life 1.0, and someone can maybe read them out very quickly.
Sure.
For me, Life 1.0 is, and Career 1.0 in fact is, ki, so till now we were at a stage, before COVID-19, outbreak happening. We were at a stage, I think, where the people who were from urban areas, or especially the people who were working in the modern career corporate ecosystem, or the higher education system, or people who were a bit towards the urban areas or the white collar jobs type of an ecosystem. These people knew of a coming machine age. So that was pretty evident, I think, from the last 2-3 years. In fact, I think 4 years, especially in India, that there is this thing called machine learning. There is this thing called artificial intelligence. Now, even a few more buzzwords have started coming in. There was blockchain, a huge blockchain wave was, there in 2017 onwards. Then we had IoT. IoT is another buzzword. So all these, different technologies coming in is especially going to change the job ecosystem, and how jobs are going to shape up in the future. So 5-10 years from now on, when we were in Career 1.0, we were thinking that we don't really know, 5-10 years on from now, what will happen to the ecosystem, but we definitely know that there is going to be a change. We definitely know that, repetitive and high volume, high frequency jobs are going to be replaced. And we definitely know that, jobs which are more creative, jobs which are more, communication based, which highlight human skills, soft skills more, are going to be there in the future, and that is why I think building this career capital or soft skills or transferable skills which can be transferred to any job role were being given importance. And now with this COVID-19 thing coming, probably things will become more online based and more technology based, since all of us are already growing a habit of working from home, even those who weren't doing it earlier. So probably that change is going to come, and that is what my take is.
Okay, that sounds very good. Just for clarification, in Life 1.0, how are you living the life?
So I wasn't
anyone for that matter.
So first things first, I think my hygiene has improved a lot. I wasn't washing my hands as often as I am doing these days.
Excellent. I mean, that's a very big point, because what you said just now about hygiene is, when we were in Life 1.0, we never took care of ourselves. We didn't. We were running after something. We didn't know what we were running after, but we were running after something. And we were working insane hours.
Right.
And we were spending insane time commuting back and forth. And we are losing valuable, productive time and energy. And we know people who travel 2.5 hours early in the morning to attend office at 9 o'clock or whatever.
Right.
And can you imagine that whole ecosystem that is there currently? The person's wife or mother, whoever has to get up, wife or somebody has to get up, cook the meal, have the breakfast, pack at lunch. Guy carries it to office, 2.5 hours, sleeps on the train or the bus or whatever may be the way of commuting. Spends a thankless 10 hours to 12 hours in the job. Cranky bosses, even crankier peers, and it's a competitive world where you're trying to pull down each and other. Isko tang lada diya, usko tang lada diya. That continues all the way, and another 2.5 hours back, and that's the way life was continuing. I'm talking about an average person. The only difference between the average person and the big shot, who's the CEO or something, is he would perhaps not take a local train or a local bus, but would still spend the 2 hours on the road. The midday meal would perhaps go in a packed lunch taken by a personal courier or something. But at the end of the day, it's all the same.
Right. Samant, would you want to read the comments or like?
Yeah, I'm before answering the live 1.0 question, I'll get off with a question just real quick. And Senji, for me, live 1.0, I think looking at it from a species point of view, it was like exploring. I would say before, I would consider it as not exactly based on the coronavirus before and after, but before the whole technology thing, we were more exploring exactly what was available to us, and now we are trying to just push it forward as much as we can. खींचते जा रहे हैं बस आगे. So I think that's how I would term it. But based on the corona, I think we should have a new vision going forward. So going to the questions, to the Facebook comments, Likit, by the way, is one of ProBano's team. Just to continue same question, with economy already looking pale, how to find greener side to choose career, as job losses look inevitable, less pay and many more. Senji?
Okay, that's a fact. And we have taken a hit, and today, and I got the people were saying that India's GDP growth rate is going to fall optimistically to a level of 2.5. That's a good case. A worst case is anything below 2.5. Never happened ever. Yeah. Never happened ever before. So yes, we are looking at a rather difficult situation going forward. People are going to lose jobs. People are going to lose, take salary cuts. But having said that, on the other hand, there is going to be a creation of new jobs for new skills,
Mm.
which requires new skills and new competencies.
Mhm.
And I think that is something that we need to really focus on. And I'll come to that. And the one thing that will make us competitive, because I understand the world has lost somewhere around 250 million jobs as of today across the world.
Really tough
That's a,
situation.
that's a huge number. It's like more than the population of Indonesia. It's a big number. 250 million is what, 25 crores.
Right. So, sir, what are the new opportunities these guys will be getting, or are there new opportunities, or how do we prepare them to kind of, take up other jobs or, the similar kind of jobs, or are there any similar kind of jobs, which will be there in the future, or is it a permanent cut that, okay, these positions probably aren't going to exist anymore?
Okay, what is going to happen, I think, is something called the Industry 4.0 is going to make a very strong impression now. So, I'm sure you guys are aware of Industry 4.0. If not, I mean, we had Industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. 3.0 was the information industry, which was the boom, which was at Y2K was the start of the whole thing, and that's why
Right.
every single person is studying computer science or something. So that was Industry 3.0. Industry 2.0 was command and control, factories, mechanized, assembly lines, and all that. And then Industry 1 was even was back. So that was about the coal mining and all that. So Industry 2.0 actually gave rise to the colonization. So the whole world got colonized because factories somewhere had to run. So there had to be raw material and people to run the factories. That was Industry 2.0. Now we are looking at Industry 4.0, and there's a lot of talk on that. And it depends on, as what Aditya said, it depends on all these new technologies that are going to come, machines, machine learning, AI, ML, blockchain, so-called blockchain. There's going to be IoT. There is going to be sensors. There's going to be wearables. There's going to be, all these other things that would be building up to a Industry 4.0. And you must have heard those terms: smart factory, smart manufacturing, smart building, smart parking, smart grid, smart metering. So you just put a smart in front and then you might get Industry 4.0. No, it's not that way actually. So the thing is, what we don't know is what shape this is going to take. Because one of the biggest dependencies of this Industry 4.0 going forward is connectivity. And we are talking huge chunks of data. And I forgot to tell you about big data and computing at edge. So, you're going to do computing at edge and all that. So this amount of big data, video, it's going to get churned out at a very rapid pace. And this data has to be communicated to the places where analysis is going to get done, so that there is a computing going on. And for that, we need strong communication. And there is this promise of 5G technology. So till now we are using 3G, Edge, and 4G. Those are what we are using so far. 4G is very fast, it's good. Now 5G is even faster, but what it doesn't have a range. It's got a very short range, so you'll need a lot of point of presence or relays or whatever you want to call it. 5G is still being tested. So what are the jobs that would come? Analytics, working on big data, working on AI. The AI will talk about how quickly can the machine learn. And here I'm going to tell you something about the machine will slowly take over all the lower end jobs. So you have process automation, RPA, robotic process automation, or which is getting into better, is intelligent process optimization. So it's an intelligent way a process is going to work based on AI, artificial intelligence. So we have a situation which going forward will trigger or will push this industry 4.0 in a strong way. That would need education to catch up big time.
Right.
You see, education, it has been structured for industry 2.0. Due to mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, so on and so forth, you're supposed to go into the factories that go and produce stuff. Industry 3.0, which was on information, is just those few people who could actually work on coding and, you know, fixing up the codes and writing out the codes. That worked out. Not for the mass. Not for the mass. The mass still depends on Industry 2.0. The daily workers, the daily laborers and all that. So how do you get everybody into it to get this mix? Then only we can proceed. So now, so that would be a scenario of Industry 4.0. I am working with another startup which is trying to do education to cater to Industry 4.0. How that can be done.
Great.
And what are the areas to work on so that that happens. So that's a very big opportunity. So you have people, you have careers, and I can't call them jobs. I can only call them, okay, you have skills that will be required. Let's put it that way. You have skills of AI and ML, that's artificial intelligence and machine learning. So what do you need in artificial intelligence and machine learning?
Data, I would guess.
Yeah, that's data. You have data lakes and data pools and everything. So you have the big data coming in over there. But you also need to understand how a human being works, how the human being learns. Because AI and ML, machine learning, you know, it's all about learning from that data that's there, right?
Mimics.
Yeah. And now Google, for example, I know Google, for example, they are now recruiting big time, or they were recruiting big time, liberal arts people. That means people who have studied political science, history, English, stuff like that. Yeah.
So actually, this particular topic reminds me. I watched this movie, The Imitation Game. I don't know how-
Imitation games. Yes.
Yeah, this
Imitation games. Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, this is one of my favorite movies. I think the one dialogue that stays with me: just because a machine does not think the same way as a human being does not mean it does not think in its own way.
Right.
So I might not understand the technical aspect of science. You know, like I said yesterday, number देख के मेरे को चक्कर आ जाता है. But at least, you know, the science fascinates me. I think be taking the backseat in this conversation anyway. But you know, it's good to.
No, that's a very good point, because the machine will learn in its own way, I suppose. It will, but what needs to be programmed into that machine? Because at the end of the day, it's a whole series of programs that are written, right? Codes.
Right.
Somebody sitting down and writing a code, and that code gets automated to do the learning. Now, when the learning happens, the functionality that goes into that machine is going to be on liberal arts. Right now, when you're writing a piece of code, you're writing a piece of code to do a banking transaction, perhaps, or an inventory transaction. It's more or less, most of them are business transactions, or could be some healthcare or something. But here now you're going to program in how history works, you know, so that machine can learn and understand historical events and then say, okay, this happened in history and this can happen in the future. So guys, I think this is going to be a age of where liberal arts is going to make a reappearance all over again.
Yeah, so my job is safe, I guess.
I guess so.
Definitely is.
I guess so, but it has to work together.
Right.
Now, blockchain is more about distributed ledgers and central control. It's more about understanding how contracts work. So whoever is in fintech, whoever is wondering and wanting to do financial technology, blockchain would come in very handy. And that's where it all started. It'll also come in handy in people who are looking at technology applied to health.
Right.
Anywhere where there's going to be a contract, where there's going to be a big issue with data privacy. And that brings me to another skill that is going to be very, very required in future is security. Because we are moving a whole bunch of stuff onto the internet. And we need to build security systems around it. Because we are giving out personal data. We are giving out, when we are doing an online shopping, Big Basket or one of these guys. So we give our name, we give our address, we give our everything out, right?
Right.
So that's a security concern that's going to be it now. So security operation centers, data security, these are some very big things, skills which are going to create very big opportunities, I would say, coming out in the front. So these are 2-3 of them. IoT, and Aditya talked about IoT. We talked about collaboration and partnerships in the previous few years, right? I'm going to collaborate with A, B, C, D to create something. I'll have a partnership with someone to do something. Now, the Internet of Things will give us a platform which is going to bridge the physical world with the digital world. And that brings me to that question of that ecosystem which Samant was talking about. So, when we're talking about ecosystem, and we are talking about an ecosystem that is going to marry the physical world and the digital world, we'll need something like an Internet of Things. It's basically nothing but a platform. Alibaba has actually mastered it. Alibaba, you must have heard of Alibaba. Now, Alibaba, they don't do anything. They don't produce anything. They just do a platform where people get onto the platform and they transact. Unlike Amazon. So Amazon has their own, like delivery, all that thing. Here, Alibaba is free format. They are just creating a platform where the ecosystem is going to be hosted. I think that's something that's going to happen in the future. For example, today, if you want to do an online grocery, which we all want to do and we can't, so we have to just go into Big Basket or one of these guys, right? But if you have an ecosystem platform which connects as many groceries as you think of, something like a Swiggy but a bit different. Those sort of things will come into play.
Yes,
So going forward, tell me.
No, I just wanted to get to the comments. If you there's a lot of comments coming in, so I just wanted to cover the comments to maybe get the audience reeled in our discussion as well.
Definitely. And someone
Yeah,
please
sure.
go through all the comments now so that we can actually address one by one, I think.
Yeah. So firstly, going back to the Life 1.0, we had Pushkar Das. First of all, Pushkar Das, Gautam Kumar, Riti Chatterjee, everyone, welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. Pushkar Das says, Life 1.0 for me was being stuck at my IT job that I've been doing since the last 4 years. Though this COVID-19 lockdown hasn't changed much to my schedule as I'm still working from home. So I guess we both share a similar idea. I mean, I'm still working from home.
Okay.
And then Likit says Life 1.0 was information technology was optional, but Life 2.0 was informational technology is an inevitable part of life and career. But Pushkar Das says, but after all this has settled down, I would pursue to switch my career domain entirely. And then Gautam, I think this is like the most philosophical question we're gonna get today. Gautam Kumar asks, will life be same as you're going through in the past? As we have gone
That's
through
a
in the
good
past.
question. That's a good question, Gautam. I'm calling you Gautam. That's a very good question. Will life be the same as it was? And I think the answer is, do you want life to be the same as it was?
I think that's another great question.
Well,
God,
the choice
God
is
the
ours. The good news is we have the choice. We have the choice to make the life different the way we want to. It's a clean sheet of page in front of us now. It's totally clean. Nothing is written on it. And we can choose to fill it up the way we want to fill it up. And I think that is the biggest opportunity that is in front of us. And how do you succeed in that? Now, I have, and as Samant was trying to sum up, and basically to fill up that white sheet of page in front of us, hopefully after 21 days or whatever, April, May, June. To fill up that sheet, I think we are looking at a few imperatives, a few priorities, areas where we need to excel. So the first one is the rate of learning, which means how quickly can we learn. That means it's not about getting a certificate and things. It's a question of how quickly we can learn from all the data that's coming to us at a real-time, extremely fast speed. How quickly can we pick it up, grasp it, analyze it, and actually learn something out of it. We need to teach ourselves how to learn how to learn. I think that's going to be very important because it's so very dynamic out there now. And it's going to be dynamic going forward as well. In all the aspects, technology aspects. So if you look at the competitive world, at the core, you have ourselves sitting there. Just outside ourselves, we are sort of layered with technology now. Right now, we are layered with technology. We're talking on Facebook, Zoom, or whatever it is. It is a layer. Outside that layer of technology, we have the layer of the society. The society is a layer in this whole competitive world, this winning world. Beyond the society, we have, I'll not go to the country, but we have the planet. And because we are going to look at ecological changes. We have climate change, you have global warming, you have so many things, and we don't know anything about the virus coming out here. It could be from global warming, could be from something else, we don't know. So, and we are at the center of all this. And the good news is, if we can learn fast enough, if our rate of learning is good enough, we are that much better. The second thing that we learn is how to leverage an ecosystem, which means we learn not to compete with each other. That means we learn not to be first, second, or third. That means we'll learn not to have IITs and not the IITs. You know, that divide that we have created, I think that should go away. It will go away automatically. Because guys, we are looking at death. And that's the absolute end that you can get to.
Right.
And when you come out of that, you want to make something totally different. So that competitiveness, and today is what? We are all under that pressure of that number. Compete. Why did you come second? Why did you not come first? You know, like the guy gets beaten. Hey, hello, man. Second is, but I'd give my left leg and my right arm to second. So it's about ecosystem. It's more than collaboration. It's recognizing that I am good at something, Samant is good at something, Aditya is good at something else. We let each of us become experts in whatever area we are good at. And then we depend on each other. The word is not collaborate, it is complement. So we actually complement each other in going ahead in our journey. So that's the next thing that we need to learn, and then we can succeed. The third thing which someone talked about is the hybrid, bridging the physical with the digital. And that's where this IoT sits in, with the digital and the physical. So the IoT is the bridge, which actually creates a platform of putting things together. It's a bridge on which the ecosystem can be hosted. So we also need to really do that hybrid mixing. Today, we have a very clear-cut distinction between the digital world and the physical world. Very clear. But slowly that's going to merge, and how we're going to react to it, we're going to see. The fourth thing is very, very, very important. How good we are at imagining things. What is imagination? Imagination is a step ahead of innovation. So if you don't imagine, you can't innovate. And what you need for imagination is you need a dose of inspiration. So what is inspiration? Inspiration is an event. Is an event. And we said that guy inspired me. When we say somebody inspired me, what actually inspired me is an event that person overcame. That is what actually inspired me. What inspired me is the way someone did his graduation in education and move forward in that. That's inspiring. It's what he did. Today, I think the COVID-19 is going to inspire all of us to do something different. And I'm sure it's already started inspiring us. So you need that inspiration to actually fuel, start, ignite the innovation going forward. That can only come from imagination. So innovation is what? It's something that you can possibly do, tinker around and do that. But you need to know that it has to have an inspiration point, and that there has to be a possibility of getting it done. Now, what's also going to happen is humans will more and more get into something which is known as higher order thinking. While machines will get more and more into lower order thinking. So machines will be doing, standard regular processes over and over again. It's already started. It'll get more and more stronger. And human beings will get into higher order thinking, imagining, planning, dreaming, and there's that famous thing about Einstein. If there's a problem and I want how to solve it, I'll spend 59 minutes thinking about the problem, and then 1 minute to actually go and fix it. That's higher order thinking. We'll need to be less reactive. When something happens, we react to it very quickly. So that imagination will stop us from reacting to any situation. We need to take a step back, understand, then go forward. And finally, that would be the fifth point. We need to learn how to be resilient. So what is resilience? Resilience is when we are hit with a calamity, like what we are hit with now, COVID-19. How can we come back and stand up again? How quickly can we come back and stand up again? How do we learn from this and go forward? So it's a circle, So you have a rate of learning, and that it's all interconnected with each other. So you have rate of learning, you have your ecosystem, how well you're playing in the ecosystem, the hybrid system between physical and the digital, how good you are able to do that. Imagination, we have forgotten how to imagine. Guys, come on. We have stopped imagining for the last 20 years. The only thing we imagine is writing code in C, COBOL, or Java, or I don't know what else, Python, and all that sort of things. So we'll get to imagine more and more, and we'll learn how to be more resilient. So this mixture of these 5 sort of things is what is going to be going forward. You'll need basic knowledge, of course, in whatever field. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Trust me, I'm telling you. That thing will not change. It does not matter. Because you will know something. It's something you will know inherently, which you can actually have a complementary session with somebody else who knows the other part of it. Somebody else who knows the third part of it, and get so everybody is going to have something that is core, and then you all get together and you do your own core. It's like in a orchestra. So in an orchestra, people are playing different pieces of music and different instruments. They're very good at their own instruments, right? When you put all of them together, you get lovely music. I think that's what's going to happen.
But I would say, personal bias, drummers are awesome.
Oh, well, to imagine you need a beat. You need to march to your own beat. That's what you need. Okay, I agree to that.
Shinji, reading the comments, Riti Chatterjee says a new world is evolving. Very true. And going back to the topic of how liberal arts are going to be a vision to look forward in the future. Riti Chatterjee says the understanding of why behind the data to predict the future is an art. Great point on liberal arts, Punyabrata ji.
Absolutely. Thank you, Riti.
And Vinayak, he is one of our team member as well. You guys met him yesterday. Vinayak says, sir, as you mentioned, with such advancements in tech and a lot of redundant and lower skill jobs are bound to be replaced, but obviously it would create other job profiles. While a lot of top institutes in the country are constantly trying to cope with this tech boom and update their curriculums, do you feel that the institutions in the lower and mid levels are going to struggle to cope up and to cope up, leading to large skill gap?
Okay, that's a very good, very interesting thing, and I think
Senji, just a heads up, before the address, we might have to keep this a little bit short. We don't have long. I mean, I enjoy the conversation. I don't want to cut you short, but
okay.
It'll be
You'll just cut us short. It's okay.
No, it'll be better if we adhere to a certain timeline. Yeah?
Okay. Go ahead.
It's like I'm like the
Okay, so just on that, I think all the education institutes need to reinvent themselves.
Right.
And they need to figure out what they are actually going to teach. And I believe the education institutes should be able to teach all the students the art of learning how to learn.
Right.
I think that's very important, because what is life? I'll tell you what is life, and that I suppose that'll be the end. Life stands for, like LIFE. Life stands for, L is for learning. How much do we learn? I is impact. How do we impact other people's lives by what we do? F is for being fit. So we have to be fit. And E is for having empathy. So how do we actually feel for others?
Right. So, sir, I'm going to use up the next 7 minutes, and I'm really sorry, that we have to, keep it to 7 minutes. But yeah, guys, do comment in if you want a second part with Punyabrata sir. We definitely want one, and we hope that, he will be very, he'll be able to accept our invite for the second part if we this happens. So yeah, I think I'll use the next 5-6 minutes to ask you a very ask you to do a very difficult job of summing up in short 2 questions I have from you. And I'm going back to what you said in the beginning about the different situations we are in our career. So one situation is what you said. When we are very unsure of where we are going, and we are unsure of what means do we have to get there. So that was one situation where we get stuck. We are completely clueless. So that's a situation I've generally seen many people getting stuck at. And I think it's the process of life, but then we also need to figure out how to get out. So how do we get out of that? That's one. And second question is, for anyone who is in the other 4 situations, so somebody who knows, who is very well aware of the means and who has the means to get to the, get to whatever place he or she wants to, but does not know where he or she wants to get to. So how do we fixate a goal? How do we find our goal, first of all? And if we are in such a situation, what is the mindset or what is the process to get out of that situation and get to the goal that we ourselves have to decide. So would request you to kind of sum it up for us, this situation.
Okay.
Senji, just really quickly. I'm like the parent who keeps interrupting the children late night sleepover or something, trying to break you guys off in every sentence. Senji, real quick, what did the F stand for in the life abbreviation?
Sorry?
What did the F stand for in the life abbreviation?
F.
Right.
Fit.
Fit. Got it.
Fit.
And
FIT. Fit.
Got it. Also, just to read out comments real quick. Dr. Rohit Kaul says, I must acknowledge your knowledge and wisdom, sir.
Thank you, doctor.
And Rohit ji also says he's a genius.
Who's a genius?
You. Senji happy है. मैं तो यहाँ पे genius नहीं हूँ, मैं 9th class maths fail हूँ, मैं तो
genius means I'm a genuine ass. Okay.
No, I'm pretty sure he did not mean that.
Kidding. Thank you, doc. Okay. Shall I answer those 2 questions?
Sure. I won't break you off now this time.
Shall I attempt to answer those 2 questions? I mean, okay. So, we all wander around. I mean, that's a given. The quicker we recognize it, the better it is. We pretend that we know everything. Whether we are in the 11th or the 12th or the first or second year or something, we pretend. We are very good at pretending. We pretend that we know everything, but in reality, we are wandering around. We are going from one side to the other, not exactly knowing what the hell am I doing out here. And I'll give you an example of a company which has actually made billions and billions of dollars on wandering. The name of that company is Google. What they had was something called Google Labs. So Google Labs, they used to get these interns, and they used to wander around. So they used to get a stipend and they used to wander around doing tinkering here and tinkering there and going on and on and on. And 95% of whatever they did was worthless. But that Google Labs gave rise, or it came up with something which we now know as Gmail, which is, I think, by default, the normal mail everyone uses. So what basically wandering is good. It's just a cousin of research and development. It's like research and development is required, you need wandering.
Right.
The only difference is in research and development, you have a problem statement. In wandering, you're looking for that problem statement. The moment you find that problem statement, you know the end. Because your end is the solution to that problem statement.
Right.
And then you need to be quick enough to move into that planned itinerary, to go forward and close it. So I would say that we will wander all the time, but we must be able to see the short-term end. Make a plan, achieve it, wander, make a short-term plan and wander and go forward. And what was the other one that you wanted to ask me about?
So if we are in any other situation, so let's say, we are not completely clueless about our goal, or let's say we are not completely clueless about the means we have to reach to a goal. So how do we get to deciding the goal? I think you already answered that pretty much. But yeah, you did. So you were saying that we are wandering, and if we find a problem to solve, then we know that the solution is the end. Now, how do we find that problem to solve? Again, you answered that a bit. You said that make short-term plans, try different things out. Now, when I'm trying different things out, so let's say I tried 5 things out. I tried solving 5 different problems in a very short-term level. I was working towards them. Then I changed to another problem. Then I changed to another problem. How do I understand which is the problem that resonates the best with me? Like, is it where I make the maximum social impact? Is it where I earn the most? Is it a mixture of those things? And if it is a mixture,
Okay. Very good question. excellent question. And it's okay. I'm not being philosophical, but I'm going to tell you how it works. It is if you can find your own purpose, why you're doing that, and I'll tell you how to find it. You answer 4 simple questions. Simple questions are: who am I? And please don't answer, I'm a computer engineer or I'm an electronics engineer. No, who am I means, who am I? Right? What do I do? So even when you're wandering around, you're doing something. You're reading something, you're trying out something, but it's in some domain which you feel comfortable in. Who are you doing it for? That means now the first 2 questions was about yourself. The third question is about the person who's going to benefit from what you're going to do. Who are you doing it for? And the last question is, how do they change because of what you do? So that will give you a framework of wandering around. So it will not be aimless. It will be with a purpose. Because you're going to do it for somebody, and there somebody is going to change for whatever. It can be society, it can be, so don't put a frame around it. It can be for anyone. It can be for your mother, father, anyone, it doesn't matter. So once you have the purpose, your wandering has a certain amount of direction, and then you can move forward from there.
Great.
I would.
So,
Aditya,
yes,
Riti Chatterjee says, Rohitji's question: how can we overcome the skill gap in this era of technology? I think if you can address that real quick. Besides that, we have Pushkar Das ji, and Rohitji says one more session is absolutely required. I guess that's finalized then. I guess we are having a second session. And Krishna says,
you know what's the problem with this virtual sessions? We can't actually have a cup of tea together, we can pour out the tea for each other and all that, but we'll have to make do. But yeah, okay, I'm on for the next session if that's okay with you guys.
And Krishna says, right, Punyabrata ji is awesome.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Yeah, so what was Riti's question? How do we bridge the gap?
This was a question by Rohitji. How can we overcome the skill gap in this era of technology?
Good question. Very good question. And I'm going to draw a parallel. See, I was in the medical board. So I was an accountant by training, sitting in a medical board among the world leading medical doctors that you can get. And they're doing all medical research and all that thing. And so one thing which I learned is how do they actually structure their medical education? The way they structure their medical education is they bring in players from all places. So they make a curriculum which comes out of the current whatever is happening. So till this time, all the pandemics that we had was like the non-communicable diseases, So they used to get, the people who are actually well versed in these diseases, bring them on, and then make a curriculum to teach the people. Now they will have to do a little bit of change, and I'm sure they're going to bring in the frontline doctors and nurses who are treating the COVID patients. They're going to bring back all of them into creating a curriculum so that the future doctors will learn from this. So the doctors are extremely good at this. There is absolutely no doubt. And I think the rest of the world can learn from the way of that. So we have situations, you bring in people who have actually faced it, create a curriculum which is reality based. Because in the reality itself, you need the research happening. One thing which we don't do, and we don't do that in India, is we don't do enough research. We don't do enough wandering around. Yeah, the scientific world calls it research. Let's call it wandering. We don't do enough of that. And because we don't do enough of that, we land up reacting to situations. Because we cannot have a planned itinerary. We are either trying to cross a river, or we're trying to climb a mountain, or we're trying to jump out and get out of the quicksand, get out of it to safety. We need to have more of wandering around and research.
I think
It's very important.
right. Before I was saying that when I was giving my point of life 1.0, I think we as a species were exploring everything. Obviously, most of that was for political reasons. We won't get into that. But as a species, we were exploring everything. We were exploring humans. We were exploring the Earth. We even went to the moon. I won't get into the conspiracy stuff of that, but we were exploring space as well. We were trying to send out messages in deep space. So I think, like you said, Senji, maybe we stopped imagining, we stopped wandering, we stopped exploring things, and we have to start doing that again.
You are so right. You know what we did? We got obsessed with setting goals and performance measures.
Right.
Our whole life is ruled by numbers. क्लास 1 से चालू होता है.
Percentage.
Writing में क्यों 100% नहीं लाया?
Right.
Starts from that time. It continues till you're 40 or 50. Bonus क्यों नहीं मिला? Target miss हो गया साहब. We have become so obsessed with performance, so-called performance numbers and targets. Why do we have to give an exam out of 100?
So me personally, I would say because we need to aim for a round figure, and 100 has a lot of rounds, I guess. I don't know.
Why can we not evaluate on the rate of learning?
Right.
And I think as a metric also that's more actionable, because even the logic of math says that that's a ratio. So rate of learning has to be divided by something, right? So rate of learning per year, per second, per minute, something. So it becomes more actionable, because marks will keep on increasing, but this thing can keep changing. So if your rate of learning drops, then you at least act to make it higher. So.
And here I want to share with you what these specialized doctors, and I'm talking about the chaps who are going ahead after their MD and going ahead and doing specialization in something like liver transplant or heart transplant or something like that. So it takes a surgeon about 6 years to do that after their MD and all that. It's a long journey. So they have the same set of question papers, and it's all multiple choice from year 1 to year 6. It's exactly the same set of questions. So year 1 and the year 6 student, they take the same exam together at the same time. What changes is by year 6, you're supposed to get 70% of those questions correct. Then you will get your whatever certification. In year 1, you're only supposed to get 10 or 15% of them right. So they try to measure your rate of learning over this period of 6 years. Countries like Netherlands and Finland, they have actually come up with a graph that they plot to these, these marks of where they are on this same thing, because the question paper is constant. It's not changing. So you have one constant axis. And then the evaluation will tell them, is their teaching good enough to have that desired rate of learning among the students? Because guys, remember one thing, the doctors are dealing with our lives. The rest of the world is having fun.
Right.
It's a fact.
True. And a salute to all the doctors who are, kind of working in this situation and always work to save our lives and make us live longer. And so what I'll do, sir, now is, I think we have already, so effortlessly continued the conversation for about 80 minutes.
I'm sorry, I must have spoken a hell of a lot,
No, sir. It was, in fact, we were actually learning so much from the wisdom you have, and I think it's very difficult to kind of, absorb all of it for people like us, but we'll try our best. So I'll do one thing. I'll do a very
Thank
small
you so
attempt at
much.
summarizing what, I learned from it, and all you guys, and all you guys who are watching can definitely comment in what you learned from this whole conversation. I'm genuinely hoping you learned a lot because we especially did a lot. So what I learned from this is especially to be very open, and think about a lot of things. So, we end up, and especially, young people like me who are trying to make a mark in the industry end up limiting ourselves a lot, as I said, with numbers. But it's very important to keep the ecological layer in mind first of all, then coming back to the social, society layer, then coming back to the digital layer, and how we can connect the physical to the digital. Skills to learn, we have learned a lot about what skills we should definitely pick up more. We should be more imaginative, we should learn, or rather retain our ability to imagine, which the school somehow tries to push out of us. We should definitely learn to adapt and learn to learn more. Like we should be more keen to learn, and I think that is that resonates with me also a lot. Always being a student of the craft that we are practicing always yields a lot, I think. And it's good to wander, especially in areas like career counseling, where we have a lot of pressure to give the right path immediately after one or two discussions. I think it is okay to wander, but it is very good to know what we are going to do in the short term.
Yeah.
With a long-term goal that might keep changing. And if you want to find out a problem, which you want to solve, as Sir said, there was a 4-point framework for that, and I hope you remember that. First 2 points being about yourself, and the next 2 points about the society, and what you want to do for the society. So the social impact coming into play. And I think with that, I learned a lot. I hope Samant learned a lot, and all of us, who were watching this learned a lot. It was a pleasure to have you, sir. And definitely we would want one more round, because even after 80 to 90 minutes of discussion, I still feel there's a lot for us to discuss, and there's a lot for us to still learn from.
Oh, it's absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
So to I'm just gonna read maybe one or two comments and before wrapping up the whole thing. Rohit ji, that question we won't be able to answer today, क्योंकि again I feel like the parent जो कि रात में बोल रहा है खेलने का टाइम खत्म, वीडियो गेम बंद करके सो जाओ.
By the way, video games is a big opportunity. Is a big job creator.
I would say I'm currently actively involved in this industry.
Gaming is big time, and you're going to learn in future through gaming, I think.
Right. I think we as well are trying to bring up a lot of gaming features in our app in the future, so that's something to look forward to. Krishna, Dobar Krishna. Who am I is a very good question to ask yourself. Roy ji, sorry, I'll write the question down. We'll try to answer that in the next stream. Riti Chatterjee says obsessed with short-term numbers to the level of destructive competitions in corporate. Krishna says thanks a lot Punyabrata Sen and ProBano team for such an enlightening experience. Krishna ji, thank you so much, and everybody who tuned into the stream, thank you so much for sticking with us. थोड़ा टाइम खिंच गया, लेकिन I hope every second of it was worth the wait, and worth staying in and learning something. Sen ji, final words, आपका experience कैसे क्या, and final words for the audience.
Oh, it's very simple. Go out and have fun. Just have fun, man. Life is too short. Forget about numbers, forget about targets, forget about all those things. Just go have fun. Make a mark.
Yes, that
change somebody else's life.
Forget about numbers. वो मेरा एग्जाम के पहले मोटो रहता था. Worked well for me. I'm not saying it's going to work well for you. And Senji, your experience about the stream, आपको कैसा लगा?
I think there's a fantastic way of doing things going forward, and I believe that it's only going to get traction more and more as you go forward. Mm-hmm. But Sumant, as being the host, you're going to have a real challenge coming up to handle viewers beyond a certain number. You're going to have some bandwidth critics, and you'll not be, the questions, the interactive questions. You have to think of another way of, imagine a different way of solving that.
No, actually, CNG, I do streaming in my casual time as well. So I get,
Okay.
I got up to maybe 70 viewers, 80 viewers as well. Obviously,
Okay,
that
that's a
was a
big number.
casual thing. वहाँ पे कोई time constraint था नहीं. We used to maybe stream for maybe 10 to 12 hours at a stretch. We can't really do
I mean,
that. But I'll try to do my best. That's the least I can.
excellent. Because I think this is the way to go forward.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, all the audience who came in.
And I want to thank the audience, all of the people who came up with those lovely remarks and awesome remarks. And thank you all for listening to me so patiently. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, everybody has, as you say, learning does not stop. मरते दम तक सीखते रहना है, and it doesn't matter who you are. Keep learning, keep educating yourself, keep perfect तो नहीं बन सकते, but might as well try for it, So, thank you, audience. Senji, thank you so much for coming to our stream. I hope everybody has a good day. Stay indoors, stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And Sumant, on your thing about perfect,
Right.
if you chase perfection, you will not attain perfection. But if you chase perfection, you will attain excellence. So guys, go ahead and chase perfection. You will at least go and get excellence.
Right. That's the final words to go on about. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you
Stay
so much.
safe. Wash your hands, man.